naenda kuchoma mali ya watu wengine. Mtu kama huyo apigwe risasi miguu, aende hospitali, akienda kotini. Yes. Yeah. Wasimuue, lakini wapige hii miguu ivunjike ndio aende kotini, aende hospitali.
So you see, the shoot to kill order that was given by Murkomen some time back actually came to bear, because 31 people were killed in the last demonstration. 31. And most of the time when a figure is given, when you're given 31, it's as the official number, it's normally on the lower end. Well, answering him, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua responded to William Ruto on his coup allegation, dismissing them as baseless. The former DP said they had only plans to dethrone the president constitutionally through the ballot in 2027. Gachagua was speaking at a press conference in Nairobi where she assured the president that the one-term movement is unstoppable and there was no plans to overthrow him.
This morning, I've seen Ruto quivering and wailing in uncontrollable anger. Mr. Ruto, excessive anger is not a solution. I want, with a lot of humility, to advise you to stop being angry. That will not help. You need to know what you need to do, because you have not been listening to the people of Kenya. The people of Kenya are more angry than you are. They are angry because you have overtaxed them. There is wanton corruption. There is abductions and extrajudicial killings. There is ethnic profiling and other ills that bedevil your administration. If you want to be calm, please abolish the housing levy and give dignity to the peacekeepers. Stop killing and profiling the young people. Listen to them. Give hustlers the jobs that you promised them. Mr. William Ruto, you are the one who promised. You cannot cry today that you have no solution, saying that other presidents have not been able to do it. You are the one who promised these young people. Yes, Mr. President, we agree there were other presidents before you, as you have rightly stated. And true, they never went through what you are experiencing today. May it please you to know that the reason why Kenyans rarely had problems with them, Mwai Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta were guided by the Constitution and the rule of law. They did not capture our constitutional institutions to work for them, instead of working for Kenyans. This narrative you are creating, that there is an attempt to overthrow your government, is for you to have the opportunity to use the Terrorism Act to profile communities and to persecute leaders who are opposed to your administration. Please relax. We want you to serve your one term. Nobody wants you out of government, and constitutionally, nobody has any plan to overthrow your administration, Mr. President. We want to face you on the ballot in August 2027. So just relax and stop crying wolf that anybody wants you out of office unconstitutionally. There is no leader here who is planning a coup, and none has the capacity. And nobody is interested. The leaders in this country, and indeed 95% of the Kenyan population, want to humiliate you at the ballot.
Well, the former deputy president accused President William Ruto of profiling the Kikuyu community through targeted criminal operations. In Gachagua's words, Ruto profiled Kikuyus in the 2007 post-election violence and is back to finish his mission during his tenure as president. According to the former deputy president, the targeted profile of the Kikuyu community is through the destruction of their businesses to sabotage them economically. Further, Gachagua says that terrorism charges are also used as a weapon to profile citizens of Mount Kenya region. He alleged that the state unleashed a well-organized militia to maim, kill, and destroy property during Sabasaba protests and blamed it on the Kikuyu community.
Unbeknown to these peaceful demonstrators, the tired regime of Ruto had a well-organized state-sponsored militia in cohort with the police and other state security agencies to maim, kill, and destroy property and blame it on the Kikuyu community and specific leaders who are perceived unfriendly to this killer regime. This targeted profiling of the Kikuyu community and destruction of their specific business is an economic sabotage not new to the narrative of William Ruto. On the fative day, these state-sponsored militia, under instructions and guidance from the police, were dropped in different places in the country, and mostly in the Mount Kenya region and other regions not perceived friendly to the government. They were strategically dropped past midnight, and then roadblocks were placed by the police while others was dropped early in the morning. The militia were procured by Ruto. Governors and MPs allied to him. These regions include Nairobi, Kiambu, Kajiado, Kisii, Nyeri, Murang'a, Kiambu, Kirinyaga, Meru, Nyandarua, Kajiado, Kitengela, Ongata-Rongai, Machakos, Embu, and in Wote. They had clear instructions to loot and destroy specific properties under police supervision. A killer squad of 101 that works under the Director General of the National Intelligence Service, Nuruddin Haji, was armed with assault rifles and drove in a convoy of unmarked Subarus, shooting and killing innocent protesters aimlessly in the streets.
Meanwhile, the president has reiterated the government's support for the National Police Service amid allegation of extrajudicial killings and forced disappearances and abductions in the wake of anti-police brutality protests. The president also criticized court petitioners who sought to have the court bar police from using tear gas canisters and live bullets during demonstrations, saying it was the police's constitutional right to protect life and property. Over 100 people have been killed in the period June 24 to June 25 in demonstrations led by Gen Zs.
Yeah, police have a right, constitutional right, to use whatever means possible to make sure the lives of Kenyans are protected, their property is protected, and they need to take steps to make sure that if life and property is in danger, the police must act accordingly. Tumeelewana, my friends? Ati anasema ati siku iko protest ama hii vitu vita ati polisi wakae sijui wafanye nini. Hakuja wapigia watu makofi wakivunja mali ya watu. Hata nimeona ati leo ati kuna mtu kotini amesema ati Inspector General ya police asiweke roadblock, ati asitumie tear gas, asitumie water cannon kuprotect mali na maisha ya Wakenya wengine. Na huyo mwenye anasema hiyo, kwake kuna askari wanamchunga, kwa gari yake iko askari anamuendesha, alafu anasema mali ya wananchi wengine haina maana, polisi wasichunge mali ya wananchi wengine. Honestly, how can anybody say that the police cannot protect the lives and properties of other Kenyans? There is a reason why there is a roadblock. There is a reason why police have tear gas. There is a reason why water cannons are there. They are supposed to be used to protect the lives and property of other Kenyans when they are in danger.
As all this is going on, the Federation of Women Lawyers in Kenya has raised concern about the rise in cases of women being harassed, assaulted, and some reportedly raped during the unrests. According to FODA, 25 incidents of rape, gang rape, and attempted rape have been documented. FIDA has condemned the use of sexual violence to intimidate women and discourage them from participating in protests.
We are staring at the precepts of anarchy in our beloved nation, and we must state it as it is. That is what we are staring at. FIDA Kenya is angered. We are devastated by the reports and the visuals that have flooded the media and social platforms, the whole country has seen viral footage of armed police officers, some in plain clothes, carrying special weapons, shooting live bullets into crowds of unarmed protesters, unarmed Kenyans, following them into their houses. That is how low we have sunk as a country.
Even in ordinary circumstances, reporting cases of sexual violence is extremely difficult. As from June, the cases that we received were 21 that we're investigating to be able to isolate which ones were specifically from the protest or protest related. Remember, what we are seeing is also a breakdown in law and order, and that is part of what we are really calling upon the National Police Service to help us address, because women and girls in particular, and even boys, are predisposed to sexual violence in any instance of anarchy.
We welcome the intervention of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, this is the OHCHR, which has called for a speedy, independent, and transparent investigation into all cases of human rights violations and excessive use of force by the National Police Service since June 2025. We also call for accountability for victims, and accountability for victims and survivors must be achieved.
Well, it's very unfortunate that we're having, I remember there was a meeting at the Kenya Human Rights Commission, and a gang of goons basically burst through that premise and really harassed the women. A very unfortunate incident. And the women who were there were just about to do a press conference. They were mostly parents and relatives of people who've lost their lives during these demonstrations. So I do understand what FIDA is saying, and it's a very unfortunate thing for us to be experiencing this. Now, the family of the late Boniface Karaoke, the mask vendor who was shot by a police officer in Nairobi Central Business District, has called for an end to police brutality in the country, which has left families in tears. The late Boniface was shot in Nairobi CBD on the 13th of June in the glare of camera lenses, before spending another 13 days in hospital in the intensive care unit. He was later declared brain dead by the Kenyatta National Hospital before succumbing to his injuries a day later.
Me a lot knowing today that my friend who was working tirelessly in selling masks just to make a niche, he was shot dead by a police. It also pains as a country in knowing that many people have died because of police brutality that have been happening in the country.
We are here because of one of our own, just to earn a living hawking a mask. He was killed. And we pray that justice will be served for this family. A bullet silenced his life. We pray that the Lord will comfort each one of his family, not only them, and many others.
Na msipochunga hamtamaliza. Because enough is enough. Hatuwezi maze, leo tuko All Saint Cathedral. Tena maze nishapigiwa simu ya Ndumberi. Natoka hapa naenda tena kwa familia nyingine, mtoto amekufa. Tena naanza kuchanga. Tena saa tu tena naenda kumwaga mchanga. Tena nikienda kulala niko na mtoto maze.
On Thursday we are supposed to go back in court because last week we were there, and since the case was miscellaneous ilibadilishwa to murder. So hapo tunarudi tena on Thursday, na tunaomba bado wa Kenya tushikamane, tusaidiane katika hii safari. The only thing we are still seeking, it is justice for Boniface Mwangi Karaoke. That is the only thing that we want as a family. That is the only thing Auntie I know anataka, and that is the only thing I know Uncle wants. The thing that we need as a family is justice.
Right, let's take a look at the newspapers today. We start off with the Daily Nation, and the headline screams out, "Enough is enough." A very agitated president, basically saying he's had it with the demonstrators or demonstrations. And he says, if you attempt to attack a police station, you'll be shot in the legs. An angry President William Ruto warned yesterday as he threatened the use of extreme force against demonstrators involved in looting and destruction of property. The head of state also took on elements in the opposition he accuses of orchestrating a broader scheme to destabilize the country and overthrow his government, telling them that power will only change through the ballot. And then Gachagua is responding to him, tells him no one wants to kick or to overthrow your government. Court outlaws barricades, Nairobi lockdown during demos. This is interesting. Judge issues temporary order following an application by Katiba Institute, which fears Kenya could be turned into a police state. And then we have an MP who has been remanded as police pursue terrorism-linked investigation. Manyata MP Getonga Mukunji is in custody. And then Kabarak Trust summoned in Moi grandson school row. Members of the Kabarak Trust have been summoned to appear in court to explain why a child of Collins Kibet, grandson of former President Daniel Arap Moi, has not been enrolled at Kabarak group of schools. Mr. Kibet, the son of the former president's eldest son, the late Jonathan Moi, is locked in a custody battle with his former wife, Gladys Jeruto, over their children. And then it's a family screaming out and crying and mourning for their son. I told my son not to attend the protest, Karaoke's mom says. Stern warning for looters, arsonists riding on protests. Gachagua, no one wants to overthrow Ruto. And then Kuria finds his way home in ditching Ruto for Uhuru. Some have questioned Kuria's plan to join Jubilee when his Chama Chakazi party is still registered. So Moses Kuria has gone back to join Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't know whether is he joining Uhuru Kenyatta to fight Gachagua, or you have to look at it from a broader perspective. If you remember Jeremiah Kioni, who is the spokesman of Jubilee Party for the time being, he's been castigating Rigathi Gachagua, and Moses Kuria has been part of William Ruto's team, and now he's resigned from his advisory position and he's rejoined Jubilee. And so by joining Jubilee, is he joining Jubilee to fight Rigathi, or is he joining to fight Ruto? I don't understand this, but let me tell you, politics is such an interesting game with so many intrigues, and you will see things will start looking up pretty soon. So how opposition has employed Raila's playbook to deal with President William Ruto. The group is now reviving confrontational tactics once associated with Mr. Odinga, boycotts, civil disobedience, and protests. MPs and TSC clash over data on jobless teachers. And then the back page of the Nation is Power Water plots Zimbabwe's fall. South African coach predicts an ugly semi-final game and wants Kenya Simbas to be sure in set pieces and use their opportunities. Then we take a look at the Star newspaper, where it's the President William Ruto. I dare you to overthrow me. That's Ruto telling the opposition, I dare you to overthrow me. Gachagua hits back, tells him to arrest those he believes are behind the unrest. Then Sabasaba families allege foul play over delayed autopsies. Rights group have accused authorities of stalling investigations into police killings as families wait in anguish at the Nairobi funeral home. The families had hoped postmortems would be conducted as agreed. It's a sad case. You have a young girl called Catherine Joki. Actually, she's not young. She's the wife of a gentleman called Elvis Musafi, who was shot by police during Sabasaba demonstrations outside Nairobi Funeral Home yesterday, waiting for a post-mortem. More Kenyans dying abroad. Then you have a detailed story on the try to overthrow me, Ruto warning the opposition as Rigathi Gachagua fires back. Then you have the picture of Murkomen, the one who had given the shoot to kill order. Then you have Kuria's resignation signals trouble for Ruto in Mount Kenya. Over 3,000 teachers near retirement. And then on the back page, you have Bring On Monaco. Mora out to revenge as Chir eyes a fifth straight win in Monaco Diamond League. Then we have the Standard newspaper. It says, President losing it. President losing it. It has a picture of the president, and it says, legendary poet T.S. Eliot wrote that men who are unaffected by death or despair are hollows. Today, as Kenya teeters on the brink of anarchy, many see those haunting words in their head of state. When the nation cried for a father, he answered with fury. When the bereaved wept, he barked orders. As bullet tore through bodies and grief swept across the country, the president remained unmoved, neither mourning with those left bereft, nor addressing the chaos consuming the country. In a moment demanding humility and healing, he chose power and punishment, ordering police to shoot rioters. And then, very strange, very deep words, eh? And then UN Rights Agency asks state to stop police killings and address the concerns. And then same story, court bars Inspector General Kanja from barricading roads to Nairobi CBD as medics relieve Kajiado Hospital siege ordeal. The Standard has a very interesting title to their inside story. They say, Ruto, nation's father, goes missing when needed most. When leadership fails, its people bullets, silence, cries, not solutions. Then Gachagua claims Ruto using terror charges, militia to muzzle dissent. Karaoke mourned amid more police killings. Boniface Karaoke's mother, Susan Jerry, breaks down at All Saints Cathedral during a memorial service for her son. Police seek to detain Manyata MP, 2 other suspects for 14 days of alleged terror links. And then, Ezekiel Mutua is in trouble. He's been ordered to repay 27 million shillings that he had been given in irregular salary increments. Anyway, let's see how that plays out. Now, the High Court, the implementation of the Finance Act 2025 may not be a walk in the park after a case filed seeking to block it. The case filed yesterday seeking conservatory orders, arguing that finance law, which President William Ruto signed on June 25 or 25th, will overburden Kenyans. It says sections of Finance Act illegal, High Court told. Counties to share 79 billion extra allocation in new Senate bill, as NPs to grill energy, Treasury CS over 30 billion debt and power deals. Kenya's health sector cash troubles deepen after Global Fund cuts 7 billion. Maresca hails Joao after Chelsea reach Club World Cup finals. Blues will either meet Real Madrid or PSG on Sunday. Premier League side saw Fluminense in the semis on Tuesday. Very interesting. All right, with that, we'll bring the curtains down on the show. Remember, at 9 a.m., we're going to have Your Faith with Reverend Felix Kavoy. And then at 2 p.m., we're going to have Manukato. So stay tuned.